Hello everyone, and thank you for supporting this channel. I'm really hoping to get back to regular scheduling soon when life kind of slows down a little bit. Please enjoy this session that we did on Clubhouse.
So I guess we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Annette Harris. I'm a financial coach. So I work with military veterans and also low-income individuals to get their finances in order. I am prior military, so I work with military veterans to explain their benefit options when they're transitioning out of the military and trying to find that first employer after their military service. I'm also the founder of Harris Financial Coaching. So you can reach out to me at harriscashcoach.com or on all social media at harriscashcoach. Ruth?
My name is Ruth Agbeloso, and I'm also a financial coach. I am the CEO of Women's Financial Empowerment Group, which is the financial literacy and financial coaching arm of Ruth G Consulting. So basically what I do is I provide financial literacy services and coaching primarily to women. I do work with couples as well. And my aim is to empower women to take an active role in managing their finances. So I do that by helping take the stress out of managing their finances and help them understand important terms and just figuring out their financial lives and just making it fun, making it something where they feel like they can achieve goals. And so that's what I do, and I'm really passionate about that. And if anybody wants to reach out to me, you can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, and my handle is Women's Financial Empowerment GRP. And you could also send me an email at the letter A, women's financial empowerment at gmail.com. So if you have any type of money challenge, you can feel free to reach out to me and let's figure out whether or not we'd be able to work together. I also have a YouTube channel, Women's Financial Empowerment Group, and Annette also has a YouTube channel that she will be telling us about as well. So that's all about me.
Absolutely. So yes, my YouTube channel is at what is it called? It's Harris Financial Coaching. So if you go to YouTube and search up Harris Financial Coaching, you can find it there. Or if you go to any of my social profiles, you can click on my link tree and find the latest YouTube video there. Today, we wanted to talk to everyone about setting investing goals. There are some specific steps that you should probably take when you're setting your investing goals. So that's why we're here today. So you can investigate investing. Ruth, I will let you jump this conversation off with establishing some investing.
Well, before I do, I have to highlight the fact that you said investigate, because that is a very key thing. Whatever we talk about here is for informational purposes only, and this is not investing advice. It's just suggestions based on our own research and opinion, but definitely everyone should investigate these things for themselves. Everything that we say here, go and look it up and make sure that it's in line with what you want. And you can also reach out to a financial advisor, a fiduciary, to get specific advice about your investment portfolio. That is our disclaimer. We want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable getting the information and just knowing that, where we stand with that whole thing, that we just want everybody to have the information to at least get started. I'm definitely finding that there are still a lot of people, particularly women, that are shy when it comes to investing. And as a matter of fact, Annette, I just had an investing class last week. And so there were some very interesting questions that came up. And I think one of the things that a lot of people think about, and I think it also has to do with your income bracket. So people who are lower to middle class income, they tend to worry about, do I have enough money to invest? So that is like the number one question, and that's where they usually start. I would say if anyone is watching this and you're in that situation, where you're questioning, can I even afford to invest? That is an excellent question. And that is something that Annette or I can sit with you and look at your financial situation and see whether or not, investing is right for you based on, various factors. So it's more than just your income that is involved. So the information that we're going to share is basically, if you've passed that threshold and you're ready to invest, how would you even start? So hopefully that's clear. All right. So what I recommend, or one of the recommendations, because honestly, there's more than one way to skin a cat, air quotes. So someone else might come at it from a different angle, but I would say start with the finish line. So where do you want to be? Okay. So for instance, are you trying to have enough invested, grow your money enough so that you have a certain amount for retirement? Are you trying to invest or what have you so that you have money to live off of just, like in the next few years? Or like, what is your end goal? That is the number one thing I would say, to start off with when you're investing. Think about that end goal and then you work your way backwards. So I'm going to stop there.
Absolutely. You mentioned, starting with the end goal, where do you want to be? And I think a big part of that is setting those smart goals. What trying to figure out what you're investing for. How much do you want to invest? Are your investing goals realistic? Are they relevant to what you want to do? You may be wanting to buy a house. That's one of those long-term goals that when you do start investing, that's something that you put that money away for. And again, finally, how will you know that you've met your investing goals? Do you have that number in mind? If you want to invest into that house that you want to purchase, how much money do you need? $10,000, $20,000 for that down payment. So setting those goals, making sure that they're attainable, realistic, and specific to you can help you create that investing target that you're looking for. And I mean, it could be stocks, it could be your retirement, it could be, commodities that you're looking on investing in, but trying to doing your research, again, investigating, what you want to invest in, and then setting those parameters around, that smart goal that you want to have set for yourself. Like for me, my investing goal is to be a retirement millionaire. And that's 30 years from now, when I actually want to start drawing my retirement, but that's my goal. And I've set some parameters in place and I've researched the different avenues on how I want to invest, whether that be my 401k, my Roth IRA, different things like that. And also, having this conversation with my spouse as well, like this is my goal. So if you do have a partner, or if you are single, setting those goals that are going to help you achieve your specific goals, and then the goals that you have set for your partner or your family as well. So that's like the beginning to investigating and investing is, setting that goal and doing your research on the different type of investments that are out there. And also, I want to mention, noting the difference between investing and trading in stocks.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that last note. Obviously, today we're just going to be focusing on investing and not trading, but I'm glad that you pointed that out. Welcome, Dana. We are just having a conversation about setting investment goals or investing goals. So we've just started out with basically figuring out what you want to achieve and then working your way backwards and setting smart goals for your finances so you can figure out, what you want to do with investing, and also researching the different types of investments. So the next thing that I wanted to say is you can break down your well, before I get into the next tip, I just wanted to share that when I first started investing, I was just fresh into college. I was just newly into college. I was 21. Yeah, I believe I was 21 years old, a single mom. And I sat down with a financial planner, and she actually did a whole workup on my whole life because she was trying to sell me not only investments but also life insurance and all the things, right? And so she was able to sit down with me and educate me on a lot of things. And she showed me, how you would decide on investments based on your risk, your level of risk tolerance. So that's something we're probably going to talk about a little bit later on. But I just wanted to share that sitting down with someone, it was really helpful to me. I I don't believe that you have to sit down with a fiduciary or a broker or anything like that, but I do believe that it is helpful. So yeah, this is being recorded so you could go back and listen to it, but I did give my disclaimer earlier. So all right, so this brings I want to go back to the next tip is to break it down into monthly contributions. Now, um this is a suggestion that works if you're doing a certain strategy. So for me, how I started out with mutual funds. And so every month I would put aside a certain amount. I would put in a certain amount. As a matter of fact, it was automatically taken out of my account every month. So it was something that I really didn't have to think about after a while. I even forgot I was doing it after a while. It just became a part of my financial picture that every month I was going to have this amount put into my investing account. So every month, same amount until, and then it was adjusted for inflation and whatnot. But if you break it down on a monthly basis, I think one of the good things about that is that it doesn't seem like so ginormous. Like when you first start out and you think, oh, investing, it just feels big, especially if you're not in that space or you didn't grow up in an environment where that was talked about a lot. It feels like something huge. But when you break it down into small bites, like the monthly putting money in, then it's more manageable. So like we said before, if you figure out where you want to be, so Annette said she wants to be a millionaire when she retires. So if you have your magic number, so say your magic number is that you want to have $3 million when you retire. So you have to figure that how long will I have before I retire? And it says 3 years, 30 years, sorry, not 3 years, 30 years before she retires. So it varies for each person. So if, for instance, you are, say, 25 and you want to retire at 45, obviously, that's 20 years. So you have to figure out your time frame. So I guess that's another thing. I guess that's a separate thing, and I didn't even think about that. So let me do it in order. So first, the big picture, figuring out where you want to be, and then work on your SMART goals, like Annette said. Do your research on the different types of investing, and also knowing your timeline, like Annette mentioned. How long will it be before you need this money? And just know that investing is not just for retirement. Some people actually live off their investments before they retire. So there's different strategies and ways that you could do it. So definitely it comes back down to, okay, after you figured out that magic number and that timeline, then you'll be able to break it down into monthly contributions, because obviously if you're just putting in $25 a month and you want to retire in 20 years, that may not get you to that number that you want to get to. So you have to pick a realistic amount that works with your salary, that works with your lifestyle, that you can put in each month. So I hope that is helpful. I'm going to mute my mic so that Annette could chime in. And Dana, please feel free to raise your hand if you have anything to contribute to this conversation. If you have any questions, you can also use the back channel. I'm watching it, so I can also respond.
I just want to revisit, Ruth. You talked about, having that number in mind, when you want to retire, when you want to achieve that goal. There's a lot of calculators out there. We're talking about retirement right now that where you can determine your retirement number. Like bankrate.com has one, nerdwallet.com has one. My retirement goal is I want to start drawing my retirement in 30 years. And with these calculators, you could put in how old you currently are, what your income currently is, what you have in your savings account. And like Ruth said, how much you save every month. So if you're saving that $25 a month and you want to be a retirement millionaire, it's probably not going to get you there. So, a good rule is the 50-30-20 rule, save at least 20% of your income. But these calculators, they let you put in how much you're saving every month and what your expected retirement age is going to be and your life expectancy. A lot of people don't think about their life expectancy when they are talking about investing and saving for the future in their retirement. They're just like, I'm going to retire at 65 and this is what I want in my retirement account. But looking at your life expectancy and your contribution rate of how you're investing in your retirement, not just that dollar amount, but what percentage of income are you putting away? And a key part of that is like I like to preach to people is to take advantage of, if you are working for an employer, take advantage of that matching contribution that they're giving you, because that's free money that they're giving you. They're saying you're investing in yourself, so we're going to invest in you too. And it's also a cost savings to you currently because you're reducing your income because you're contributing those pre-tax dollars into your retirement. So you're not paying those taxes now. You pay them later when you start drawing your retirement, but you're reducing your tax rate right now where you have other expenses like a mortgage, utilities, you may have daycare for your kids. So looking at that retirement contribution rate that you're, contributing to that retirement plan. And then once you reach that max contribution limit with not the max match with your employer, try to take advantage of and get to the maximum that they're allowing you. So my employer, I can contribute up to 15% of my income. So what I did every year, once I got to the match, I would get a pay increase every year and say, we'll just estimate it was 4%. So if I got a 4% increase, I would add an additional 1% to my retirement contributions. And this got me up into the 15%. So now I'm contributing the max, which is 15%. So I'm trying to find those other ways to save that are outside of my employer's contribution plan. So, going out to my banking institution saying, what products can you offer where I can contribute those after tax contributions now? Because I want to continue to save and build my solid retirement future. So, I don't have to go back to work. There's a lot of individuals now who are in their 70s and they've run out of their retirement money. So they're coming back. And it's really tough for them to find employment because employers are like, well, you're 70, how long are you going to work for us? What can you do? So just trying to build that wealth so you don't have to come back. A lot of individuals are living to 100 years old. It's more prevalent nowadays than 20 years ago when I was younger. So look at your family history, your health, the health of, your spouse or significant other, if you have one, to try to add that extra cushion onto your retirement and just the goals that you have as well. You may want to travel for like 20 years, or you may want to, get one of those motor homes and just travel the world with that. So how can you fund your retirement goals that you have for yourself? So I will let Ruth chime in on that.
I like that you brought up two things. One, going back to work after retirement. Yes, it's true that a lot of people are going back to work, thankful for places like Walmart that do hire a lot of elderly people, and McDonald's. And, those are the primary places that I've seen um, people. But like you said, there are ways to get around that for the most part. Obviously, everybody's situation is different. But if you can do whatever you can do at this point is better than not doing anything at all. So that brings me to the other point where, oh, and before I get to that, I just also want to say the other point that you brought up that I liked is the lifestyle. So thinking about what lifestyle you want to live when you're at retirement, because I could easily say, yeah, I want to be a millionaire when I retire. I want to have $1 million save up, or 5 million, or whatever. But then if I'm thinking, hey, I want to live on a cruise ship, and that's going to be my primary home, and there's actually people that do that, then, what's that going to look like in terms of my monthly expenses during retirement? And of course, like you said, taking into consideration your life expectancy and all that other stuff. Of course, none of us knows how long we'll live for, but we can get sort of an idea based on, hey, if all conditions are right, how long would we live? Just an estimate, obviously. So I like that you mentioned lifestyle. Now, if you are in a position where right now all you can put aside each month is $25, but you have that goal to say, we're just using 1 million for an example, or 2 million, what have you, but it varies per person. And also, we're not just talking about retirement, but in this case, for retirement, let's just say that you want to build up to $2 million, but right now you can only put aside $25 a month for investing. That is okay. It's like, start where you are, because a lot of people are afraid to start because they feel they don't have enough. But especially with partial shares, you can get into investing with like $1. I mean, it's just like, and little bits add up. So start where you are, and then you can work your way up. Like I said, when I first started out, I started out with a little amount. I had two accounts. I had a retirement account, and I had a, oh, it slipped me what the other account name is at this moment, but two accounts. And so in each of them, I was putting $25, because that at the time is what I could afford. And then it went up and went up, and I did more and more and more as the years went on. And then I even expanded on that and had, other stuff going on with my portfolio or what have you. So, but it took time. It took time for me to get there. And there were times when, as a single mom, times were tough. There were times when I was underemployed or unemployed. So many things have happened in my life, but, I was able to still invest, and maybe I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do, but I was still able to invest something. And my first home I bought after the big stock market crash, of 2008. With the money that I started investing in 2001, I was able to have a pretty good size the down payment for a home by the time I was ready to buy. And that was in 2013. Yeah, 2013. Obviously, I waited for quite a while, so it was able to build up. But the point is that little bits um, do add up, and there's something called compound interest, and that's how fast your money will double. So the thing is, if you're not in it, you can't get it. You're not going to see that increase. So you have to start somewhere. First, you figure out how much you want in the end, and then you work your way up. So today you might only have that $25 per month to put in, but set a goal for yourself that, hey, if I budget right or whatever, I can increase that amount by $50. you know Either I get a second job, or a side hustle or whatever, to get that extra money and put that money in there, or I cut out some other things out of my life. There's different ways that you can do it, but definitely I'm here to tell you it's doable, because the thing is, I want generational wealth. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I came from an immigrant family, and just seeing how my mom bust her butt to, just get things done. And we still didn't end up wealthy, but, we have a few pennies to rub together, as they would say. So just start where you are and build up as you go. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll let Annette chime in with the next point. But before I do, I just want to reset the room and welcome May. We're just talking about investing goals, how to set investing goals, and just sharing our experiences as well. This room started at 8:15 and it will end at 9:15. Feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions that you'd like to chime in. Feel free. You can use the back channel or just raise your hand. Thank you so much for being in the room.
I like how you said, start small wherever you can. I mentioned with the retirement, starting just to maximize that match. So if you're investing, starting with $25, like Ruth said, just so that you can get comfortable with investing and so that you can realize the fluctuations that occur in the market. You may invest that $25 and then the next day it drops down to 20, and just being comfortable with investing for the long term, because if you take that $20 out, you just lost $5. But if you let that money stay in, that $20 stay, that $25 stay in, you get comfortable with the market fluctuations, that $20 can turn into $35 if you had just let it stay in there for 6 months to 3 years, and just seeing your money grow, watching the market. So starting with a little amount and then, eventually, gradually increasing what you are contributing. We did mention at the top of the hour, talk to a financial advisor, so that we're financial coaches. We give advice on how you can find these different products. So if you aren't comfortable with, putting that $25 away, talking to a financial advisor so they can give you additional advice on what your risk level is. Are you aggressive? Are you moderate? Are you low risk type of investor? And they can, help guide your path on starting in, whatever it is, stocks, mutual funds, commodities, ETFs, different things like that. And even just your retirement portfolio. I have a lot of employees reach out to me. I had one actually reach out today, and he was like, "Hey, I was looking at the funds that are in our retirement accounts." And he was like, "Do we invest in the S&P?" And I was like, "Oh no, we are geared towards more conservative funds. We don't do S&P 500, things like that. We do target retirement mutual funds, things like that, to try to protect the investments of our employees." So he's like, "I was looking for some advice." And I was like, "Oh, no, you have to talk to your financial advisor about that. We don't give advice. We have a fiduciary responsibility to just try and protect your investments and the financial wealth of the employees." But I did also want to, gear this, turn this a little bit another way on how do you know if you should save or if you should invest. So there's different types of financial goals that you may have. So there's a couple that when you're looking at saving and investing and you're investigating whether or not you should invest. Um, so a couple of those are if you're looking to build an emergency fund, say you want to have $2,000 in your emergency fund for the year. This is a short-term goal. And with that, you're going to be looking to save money. It's one of those low risk investments because you're putting your money away into a savings account where you may be getting 0.02% interest, on your money. You have easy access to the money. So that's, if you want to build an emergency fund, that's where you want to save that money. If you want to have a down payment for a house, in 10 years, and we mentioned this earlier, that's when you want to start investing your money, because this is a long-term goal. You won't need it soon, and you could tend to take some risk on your investments because you'll end up getting a higher return as opposed to that 0.02% interest rate that you would if it was just sitting in a savings account. There's another one, like if you wanted to get that video game system, I think it's the PS5. My daughter keeps asking me for it, but I can't find it. And I've given up. I have my name on the list. But if you want to get that PS5, then that's for something. It's a short-term investment. You want to save your money for that. It's a short-term goal. Again, it's one of those. You can have easy access to the money. But if you want to open a retirement account, I keep talking about retirement accounts. I'm not even 40 yet, but I'm looking forward to retirement. So that's where you want to invest that money. Again, take advantage of the employer match. Look at how you want your life, your financial wealth to be 30 years from now, 20 years from now, depending on your age. A lot of people, they talk about FIRE, financial independence, retire early. I I want to be financially independent. We are debt free, me and my family, but I want to be financially independent, not have to go to that employer, for the next 15 to 30 years, however long it is. So for those types of things, when you're looking into retiring, that's where you want to invest your income. So I will stop right there and let Ruth.
Thank you, Annette. First, I want to welcome Dom PL. Thank you so much for joining in the room. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or enter the back channel. However you want to do it is fine. I love the points that you mentioned, and it's funny that you mentioned the short-term and long-term goals because I was going to touch on that a little bit, but um, I won't rehash everything that you said, but I will harp a little bit on emergency fund. So if you're out here and you're looking to invest for whatever reason, and it doesn't have to just be retirement, like I said before. And the reason why I started off with $25 just to put this out there is because I didn't have a job that had a 401k. And not every job offers a retirement plan, or maybe you work part-time, or even you're self-employed, and there is one for self-employed people, and that's another topic. But you may not have that available to you, so you'll be able to invest on your own using different things, whether it's a retirement account or just a regular investment account. But before you do all of that, I would highly, highly suggest you have an emergency fund, because if something were to go down, you need that cash. You need that cash, and you need it quickly. You don't want it tied up into something, especially something where when you withdraw that money, you're going to be stuck with a lot of taxes that you have to pay back. So having an emergency fund, I feel, is the foundation. So you're building your financial foundation. You start with When you're building a house, you start with the very bottom, the subflooring, the foundation. And so I really believe that an emergency fund is that. So, like Annette said, that is a short term goal. So, you definitely don't want to put the money for your emergency fund in something where your money is going to be tied up, because you want to make sure you can get to that. So, that should be I would suggest, as a financial coach, I suggest you get that straight. Like, shoot for that immediately, your emergency fund. And what I do is I help my clients figure out ways to get money together so that they can do that. Because even, you see what happened with the economy through this whole COVID thing. But so many people lost their jobs. Yes, the government threw a lot of money at us all, and they were like, you know what, I know they're going to come back and grab that money. I don't trust the government. But it's just like everything has been so uncertain. And the people who had an emergency fund, they didn't really have to panic. And I was one of those people, because I have an emergency fund. I didn't have to panic when I knew I couldn't go out and do my audits like I usually do, or I couldn't sit kneecap to kneecap, so to speak, with clients or what have you. I had my emergency fund to, as a nice cushioning, so I didn't have to worry. So I would definitely recommend, if you want to get into investing, first get your foundation set up with your emergency fund. And like I said, if you need help, if you feel like, geez, I don't even know how to how to do that, I don't even know how to get that started, that's something that we could help you with. Like we said in the beginning, Annette works with veterans, I work with women, and her veterans are women, men, married, whatever. And I primarily work with women, and I also work with couples. So definitely reach out to either one of us if you need help figuring out, okay, how am I going to get this emergency fund thing put together so that I could start getting my investing done. Um, so like I said before, it's not just about investing. I know people who are able to live off of dividends, and there's just so many strategies out there that you could take advantage of. But the biggest thing is to get started. And that's where a lot of people have like a hiccup. It's like, oh, how do I even get started? I don't have enough money, or I don't this, or I don't that. but there's ways around it. Once there's a will, you can do it. Like honestly, if I was able to do it as a single mom, sometimes underemployed, sometimes not employed, if I was able to do it, I really believe that most people can do it. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody can do it, but I would say most people can do it. It just is all about strategy and looking at your financial picture and seeing where you really are, knowing your numbers, knowing how much money you're bringing in, how much money you have saved, and then figuring out how much money you need to have saved to get to your goals, or even what goals you need to be setting. Those things are super duper important. So what I would like to do now is we've talked about different strategies for setting investment goals, and I just want to open up the floor to questions right now. If you have questions, feel free, like just shower us with questions. If there's something we cannot answer, we will definitely tell you we can't answer it, and we'll tell you how to get the answer if we know it. If it's something personal and you'd like to have a consultation, our links are there. Just hit us up and let us know. It's personal, need a chat, whatever. But for these purposes, hey, raise your hand, get in the back channel, let us know what your question is, or if you have anything to share. Welcome, Penny, to the room. I don't believe I welcomed you before, so thank you for coming into the room. If you have anything to contribute to the conversation or you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And the other thing I wanted to say real quick before I mute my mic is we're all women in here at present. Sometimes we do get men in our rooms, but I think as a mom, there's like this thing about moms where we just want to see our children in a good place. And then myself, we are mom, and there's like this thing inside of us where we really want to see our children get to a better place than we were or we started. So we're building up this foundation so that our children can be in a better spot. And so if you have children, I would say get your house in order and then help your children to get started early, because the earlier you start, the better. I am so grateful that someone reached out to me at 21 years old to share about financial literacy and all of that stuff, because otherwise I would not know. My mom was good at saving, but she never had money. She always told me she didn't have money. I did not know she had so many different accounts, but she never really talked about money. So it was good that somebody reached out to me and shared, and I was able to actually enter that space of as a financial planner and things like that. Share information with your children early. Share this information with them, and as you get yourself together, also allow them to join you. There are so many resources out there as far as getting your children on board with investing. It's something that they need to learn early, because for the most part, children are more, especially if you're in the United States. I can't speak to other countries, but I know in the United States and even Canada that children have the case of the gimmies. A lot of times they want this and they want that and they want that and they want that, and it's like a never ending gimme, gimme, gimme. But teaching them early about investing and saving for their future is something that it really changes them. It really changes them to the point where, yes, they're going to want stuff, but they might think twice about where their money is going. And so they're not just seeing it as, okay, mommy just has this endless flow to just gimme, 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 but, really see the value of money and how to secure their future. So I just wanted to put that out there, because that's something that I'm really passionate about also, is just empowering women to empower their children. We want to break that poverty cycle or that lack. And even if you work five, you make six figures, but if you're not handling your money the right way and you're struggling, then that's an issue, because you're doing all the work, but then you're not enjoying your money the way it should be, or you're not having the peace of mind that money should bring to you. Because like I always say, money is a tool, so it just depends on how you use it. if you're not using it the right way, obviously it's not going to give you the right results. But if you use it the right way, you can live a really good life, just handling your money the right way. Obviously, there's other factors in life besides money, but if you use it in the right way, it can do right by you. So, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in.
You hit the nail on the head. I was getting ready to start talking about um, my daughter in investing and how she invested. One day she walked up to me and she said, when I was younger, you used to say, she used to ask for McDonald's, and she was like, you used to reply, well, do you have McDonald's money? And she was like, I'm thinking, like, is that a different type of money? McDonald's money. So I think a lot of that is reframing the conversation on how we talk to our children about money, having those positive conversations with them and not just saying, no, I don't have the money. So, I've learned a lot, with the five children that I've raised, and, how to talk to them different. Also, just to talk to my clients differently as well. Like Ruth said, I work with women, but I also volunteer. So I work with women who have been victims of domestic violence. So they have had money that has been withheld from it, or they've been controlled by the money that their significant other has had, or even their parents. One client, her mother was controlling her. I'm also working with a elderly gentleman. He doesn't trust the credit system. So, there's different types of individuals that have, these different conceptions about money, and just talking to our children and framing having these conversations with them, while they're in our home with us, before they leave and go to college, before their mindset is geared towards, money in a negative light. So with COVID, I started talking to my daughter more about money. We were around each other. We're both at home. I was working from home. She was doing school from home. So to get her more involved with it, I was like, hey, go research some stocks that you want to invest in, some companies that you're interested in. So she did her research. There were some questions that she had I didn't know the answers to, but I told her, I said, come to me with your questions, and if I don't know the answers, we can research this information together. One of the big ones was she wanted to invest in Purell. Well, Purell is a private company, and she didn't know that, okay, you can't invest in every single company that's out there. So, educating her between publicly traded companies and then those private companies that you can't invest in. And then, letting her look at the fluctuations. I was like, oh, look, you gained $100, since you've been investing over the 6 months. And then when the market went down, something happened recently where the market went down again, after COVID, happened. And I said, hey, come look at this. You invested in this stock, but look at how your money changed. I said, but we're not going to take it out. We're going to leave it in. We're going to see what happens and, watch it grow. And then when that stock rose again, I called her back into the office, look at your stock. So letting your children see those money fluctuations and talking to them about, investing. And if you don't know the answers, just being comfortable letting them know that you don't know the answers to the question, and you research and learn together. And that helps them become more comfortable with talking about money, talking about investing, and building their future wealth. I hear a lot of people talking about cryptocurrency now, and I had a coworker come to me and she was like, "Hey, Annette, should I invest in Bitcoin?" And I was like, "Oh, I know nothing about that. You have to do your own research about it." So I'm learning, more about cryptocurrency, and I would have never thought 30 years ago that, cryptocurrency would have been a thing. Like, it's not something that paying through PayPal with crypto, paying for your movie ticket with cryptocurrency. I never would have thought about that. So it's a big learning curve for all of us. I know some people who've made millions off the cryptocurrency. I've made $20 so far with my investing, because I am a very hesitant investor. I like to do all of my research. At the top of the hour, we talked about investigating your investing. So investigating stocks, investigating bonds, mutual funds, commodities, cryptocurrency, and any other new thing that they're going to come out with, on the market. Another, Tesla. I'm like, I don't want a self-driving car, but now I don't want to drive myself anymore. So just doing your investigating, being comfortable, with not knowing, what you don't know, and also just setting those smart goals and comparing whether or not you should save and invest. And like Ruth said, initially having that emergency fund that you have set for yourself. So if you do start to invest and you do lose some of the funds that you've invested, you have that backup plan of that emergency fund set aside, those funds set aside, so that you can financially recover from this, because there nothing comes without risk. Investing in my retirement plan, I saw it take a dip back in March of 2020, but I couldn't take my money out because I'm still an employee. But if I would have taken my money out of my stocks, I would have lost thousands of dollars in stocks. But I let that money stay there. It built back up to where it was, and we ended up breaking even with our investing. But just again, talking to a financial advisor, letting them know your risks. What's your level of risk? If you're a beginner investor, maybe starting with low risk type investments, and then eventually, revisiting with your financial advisor to reassess your financial situation as you become more comfortable and you have that solid financial um, cushion that you can use to gear your investments towards.
And I love that you work with victims of domestic violence. As you know, I was a victim of domestic violence, and financial abuse was a big part of that whole thing. So that's another thing that's near and dear to my heart that I really like to help people overcome the mindsets that keep them bound after they've left that situation. But I also wanted to point out that when it comes to investing, so we didn't really talk about the different things that you would invest for. We did say short term and long term. One of the things that you will want to put aside money for if you have a child that you would like to go to college, and you'll need to do that same sort of thing. Look at the end goal and then work your way back and make sure you have smart goals in place for that. Because I actually just did a post on this either last week or this week. I put so many posts on Instagram I lose track, but basically knowing like what type of school you might want them to go to, whether it's Ivy League or if it's a local school or what have you, and then how much it's going to cost for the 4 years or 2 years, whatever you're doing, plus added in inflation, and how many years you'll need to save up depending on how old your child is. Those are all things you need to know, so that you can set that goal. So for instance, if the school costs $10,000 right now and your child is say 10 years old, you know that you have another like 8 years before they go to college, but then you also want to include inflation in there before you come up with that big number that you're going to want to save towards. But then you always want to make sure you start. You just got to get started wherever you are. So whether they're 1 year old or 10-year old. So that's the last thing I wanted to say about that. Investing has been good to me. I'm glad that I got into investing, but like Annette said, there's risk in it. It doesn't matter. So I think we've been mostly focusing on the stock market, whether it be through a retirement fund or some other, whether it's stocks or what have you. And I do have some posts related to the subject on my Instagram, of just different tips and strategies or what have you. However, there are other vehicles where that you can invest in, like was mentioned in the beginning, commodities, real estate. There's so many different things. So, like we said in the beginning, definitely do your research, because it doesn't mean that, because everybody's talking about Bitcoin or everybody's talking about stocks, that's all there is. The best investors are the ones who are diversified. So that means that they're invested in multiple things and not just putting all their eggs in one basket, so to speak, because, when one thing is doing good, another thing may not be doing good. So you definitely want to make sure that you're diversifying. And so again, sitting down with a financial advisor is really helpful when it comes to that. And then of course, if you can't even if you feel like you can't figure out like how you're going to even afford it or how you're going to even start, a financial coach may be right for you to just sit down and really discuss your situation and hash out where you are financially. However, at the end of the day, you have to do what you feel is right for you. And so if you feel like you have enough information or you can do all the research and do it on your own, have at it. But I would definitely suggest really weed through the information properly so that you're well informed before you get into something, because money comes slower than it goes out. It's just like it really goes much faster than it comes. So we just want to make sure that you have a solid foundation and that you feel more comfortable getting into the investing space. So I hope that we've done a good job of doing that. Like I said before, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Please follow us on Instagram because we post about all different topics relating to money. And so you'll get some great free information there as well as on our YouTube channels. And definitely reach out if you actually need one-on-one help or anything else. So we're going to go ahead and close the room, but we definitely are happy that you stayed with us, May, and everyone else that was here. We're happy that we had this opportunity and we thank you so much. And we look forward to having another room. Not going to make any promise of when that next room will be, but it was nice to.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Annette Harris from Harris Financial Coaching. Like Ruth said, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram, where you can find all of our links to our other social profiles, or if you need additional financial assistance, we are here for you.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please go ahead and subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment.